January 12th. Today's reading opens with Jacob on his way to meet his brother Esau. On the way, an angel visits him. We aren't told why or what was communicated in that visitation, but it was undoubtedly comforting, as he had been terrified of what lies ahead with Esau, who was bringing an army. The very night before his meeting with Esau, on what is probably the most stressful and fearful night of his life, Jacob has a supernatural encounter with God. Whether it's an angel or a Christophany, a type of pre-incarnate Christ, isn't clear. But this supernatural being literally wrestles with Jacob. It's a mysterious event that ends with the supernatural being intentionally hurting Jacob's hip, changing his name from Jacob, which means deceiver, to Israel, which means God fights, or one who struggles with God. From the encounter, Jacob is a new man. He has a new confidence to face his brother and to account for the wrongs he has committed against Esau. Now he is Israel. He is the man who has encountered God like no other man of his generation. And the next day, after making peace with his brother, he builds an altar to the Lord and names it El-Elohe-Israel, to the God of Israel. He has come full circle. He has seen God's consistent faithfulness through the years. God has indeed delivered on every one of his promises made in that first encounter at Bethel. And as Jacob's story concludes, we've seen a vivid and broad picture of the events in Jacob's life. We've seen God's greater plans laid out. Jacob has birthed a family that becomes a clan that will soon become a nation. We have also seen the gritty context in which these events occurred. These are flawed people who were repeatedly prone to failure and mistakes. Rebekah, his mother, participated in the deception of her husband Isaac, and as a result never again saw the face of her favorite son. Esau, his brother, failed to grasp the significance of his opportunity, and by selling his birthright for a bowl of stew, allowed his younger brother to take his place in changing the world. Tragic events occurred in their family. Dinah, his daughter, was raped, and his sons took vengeance on an entire village. His son Reuben's disgraceful act in chapter 35, verse 22, is right out of a modern soap opera. But through all of these events, God is still guiding Jacob, and his hand is clearly evident. This story reminds us that life is messy, that we have to deal with a lot of junk. Stuff happens. People make very bad decisions. We make very bad decisions. Kids get into trouble, and life throws us curveballs. But these events don't necessarily disqualify us from service to God. God's call, our obedience to Him, and our persistence to continue with His grace when we fail are what matter. Here's today's application. Do you look over the events of your life and think you've been disqualified? That's not necessarily true. Remember that nothing has happened to you that God did not see coming. Your Father is the author of grace, and He is the author of innovation and creativity. He can open doors that no one can close. He can do anything. Regardless of the events that have transpired in your life and in the lives of those around you, press into Him today. Say a deeper yes to Him and watch Him work His purposes in your life. Now here's today's prayer.